Hey traders, welcome back to Valareso Capital. On today's episode, we're gonna go through the market update and we're also gonna take a look at the weekly watch list. So we're gonna take a look at everything that has been happening in the market. We're gonna take a look at the supply and demand levels. And also I wanna show you some very interesting things that I have been working on. I did some changes to one of my indicators that I have been mentioning about here in the channel. I added a very important thing about price structure, so that now is incorporated into the indicator. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I also added a new indicator, which is basically just a way to make things easier for me to identify the price structure of the chart. So before we move on, I want to remind you guys that the indicators that I share here in the channel are indicators that I made myself. Not all of them, but some of them I actually made myself. And I think it's really important for us to understand that at the end, indicators are not something that is gonna magically gonna change your trading, right? Because trading is about risk management, and that's something very important. However, I do think that there is a lot of value if you're able to create your own indicators, because indicators are something that are gonna help you to kind of a double confirmation for your analysis. So for example, if you like looking at price structure, then creating an indicator that confirms any changes in price structure is actually gonna help you. So I think it's really important to understand that, and we're gonna walk through all those indicators here in this episode. Remember guys that this video is for informational purposes only and is not financial advice. So let's just jump directly into the charts. It was actually a pretty volatile week. These past 2 weeks have been actually pretty volatile weeks, especially for the month of April. April tends to be a really bullish month, but we actually haven't seen any continuation. And if we take a look at the chart in the SPY, you can see right here that basically in April, we just basically have been chopping around for the entire month. You can see right here in the chart that we have been trading right here in this base. Basically, not as much going to the upside, not much going to the downside. And I actually find that very fascinating, right? Because a lot of people were pretty excited about this month, especially about myself, looking for continuation to the upside. Well, we haven't seen much. And if we jump really quickly to the QQQ, we can actually see the same thing. And let me just make this a little bit bigger. You can actually see the same thing. You can see right here that the QQQ has also been trading in a range. So remember that I was mentioning something about the indicators that I coded this week, and you can see right here, this one is the indicator, is the complete indicator, is basically everything that I have been looking for. What I did basically is I added a momentum component. And you can see right here that I have these, and let me just find a different drawing. You can see right here that I have this component of a different background. So basically when I have a dark background, that means that the momentum is actually favoring the downside. It's favoring at least a pause and perhaps a continuation to the downside in the markets. And then a white background basically indicates that there's a higher probability of a continuation to the upside in terms of momentum. Now, if we jump into the line right here, I added a price structure component. So basically, the black line that we have right here is basically tracking the market structure of the price, and then I added basically kind of a moving average component to it. So anytime that the price structure is changing, based on the parameters of this indicator, I'm gonna get a sell signal. So you can see the line right here, basically the arrow, and you can see that anytime that the price structure changes again, you're gonna see a change in the price. And basically what we want to see is a combination of price structure and also a combination of momentum, and then that tends to signal very strong moves to the upside or to the downside as well. And then you can see right here that my candles look a little bit different. Basically, I'm using the same type of candles. However, you can see that some of the candles are a little bit darker than some of the other candles. So this is basically just a way for me to identify price structure. So anytime, and let me just grab my cursor here, anytime that we see a considerable change in price structure, so let me just back up here so you can see a better example. So anytime that we see a considerable change in price structure, then the candles are gonna turn a little bit darker. So you can see right here that we see, and this is a perfect sample of everything together. You can see right here that we had a change in the price structure. So you can see that my candles turn black. You can see right here that momentum was also turning black, basically the dark background, and you can see that I also had an indication of a change in the structure based on my indicator, and that's when we tend to have very strong moves to the downside. And then we see the opposite. You can see right here that I get this buy signal. You can see that I get the white background indicating that price structure and momentum in my indicator are positive, and then I get the confirmation in the candles changing from black to gray. So this is basically just changing in price structure, meaning that we're making higher highs and higher lows, and then the candles confirm that information, and you can see that we got a very strong move to the downside, and then you can see that we get the opposite, and then we get the opposite. So this is a very, very easy way for me to identify momentum, price structure, and also the structure that I was able to code in my charts. So this is actually a very, very strong set of confirmations that I have, and I'm pretty excited about that. So going back into the market, we continue to chop around. Let me just go back to the SPY, because I actually think that we are probably going to see a pullback. And the reason that I think that we're probably going to see a pullback is because we had a very, very strong move to the upside. And let me just change that. We had a very strong move to the upside, and basically we are right here at this level of supply. At the moment that we're hitting this level of supply, the probability of a pause is very high, and you can see that we have this kind of doji candle, which is kind of an indecision candle, and the probability that we're going to see a pullback is actually increasing. Now, you can see right here that the 21 exponential moving average, which is the blue moving average that I have in my charts, is actually rising. We do have a very strong level of demand right here, so any pullback, if we happen to see a pullback back into this demand area, this 21 happens to join that demand area, I think that's going to be a very strong move, a very strong opportunity to actually buy that move, and then perhaps look for a continuation into 420 for what's left of April. Remember that we are also in the season of earnings, so we're going to see Meta, Facebook, Amazon, a lot of those big names. We're gonna see Tesla next week are actually gonna go through the earnings season, so we're probably gonna see a lot of volatility. We're also gonna have Netflix, so be very aware of that. When we have these mega cap earnings, the market tends to be really volatile. And now going back to the Qs, we're probably going to see the same. You can see right here in my indicator that the structure continues to be bullish. However, we're starting to see this dark background, and that tells me that we're probably going to see a little bit of pause. I'm also looking at that 21 exponential moving average. You can see that the 21 exponential moving average is rising, so any pullback into that 21 exponential moving average should act as support, and then perhaps that's exactly what we need before moving into the next level, and then the ultimate target is going to be 330. But holding the 21 exponential moving average is going to be really important going into next week. In terms of setups, I'm only going to share one setup because I don't see much in the market right now. I think that we're seeing a lot of chop, and the opportunities are gonna be when we actually see those pullbacks in the market. So I want to see that pullback into the 21 exponential in the SPY and the QQQ, and then we're gonna assess what are the setups that are actually holding well. Now, let me just show you something really interesting here in the SMH. So the SMH is actually starting to show kind of a topping pattern in my opinion. You can see this head and shoulders topping pattern, and you can also see that the momentum is already going to the downside. You can see that in the dark background of my indicator, and you can see also that I have an active sell signal. The price structure continues to be bullish. You can see that we don't have any significant changes in the colors of the candles, meaning that we haven't made any significant lower high, because we're still holding this one right here. But given the indicators, given the squeeze, I do think that there's a probability that the SMH is going to see a pullback right by here into this demand level. So that's going to be somewhere around 243. So the way that you can play that, you of course can play that with the SMH. You can use the SMH stock, you can short the stock, you can use puts, perhaps you can sell some call credit spreads. But the way that I'm gonna execute it, that I'm actually executing it, is using the SOXS, which is the leverage 3x ETF. You can see right here that I have some of the trades that I already executed. So I'm trying to accumulate a position right here, and this is actually looking pretty much the opposite, right? It's the leverage 3x inverse ETF. So you can see right here the bottoming pattern, the head and shoulders bottoming pattern, and you can see that we're starting to hold those moving averages. We're starting to hold the 8, we're starting to hold the 21, and I'm actually looking for a little bit of basically the same move, right? I'm looking for a move back here into this supply level, and of course keeping a stop right below this candle. That way you can manage your risk, and you can also see that the momentum is starting to be positive. That's why I have a white background, but we still need to see that change in the structure in my indicator, but the squeeze is also showing signs that it wants to go up. One of the other reasons that I'm being a little bit careful with the market is because of Apple. You know that Apple is one of the most important stocks in the market, but I'm actually starting to see a little bit of changes here in the structure of my momentum indicator. You can see right here that when we had the same signal, the signal that we're having right now, we actually see a little bit of a further pullback in the name. So you can see right here that we are starting to see a little bit of resistance right here. Perhaps we're going to make a lower high. So I actually looking for perhaps a test of that 30 daily moving average. This sell signal is keeping me from looking for a further upside in the market, at least until we get some kind of reset, some kind of pullback in the market. So basically, in summary, next week we're probably gonna see a little bit of a pullback. Watch for that 21 exponential in the SPY and the QQQs, and then the only setup that I'm looking right now to the downside is gonna be the SMH, and then we need to see how names hold if we happen to see a pullback before looking into new setups. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see you on future videos. Take care and bye now.